A big move for Andretti. Major developments and a significant turn of events have unfolded in the Andretti F1 entry saga, as General Motors has announced their commitment to developing their own F1 engine in collaboration with Andretti starting from the year 2028. This revelation adds another layer of intrigue to the Andretti narrative, and it definitely sends shockwaves across the paddock, because it's still unclear whether or not Andretti's bid will even get accepted by F1. What will this mean moving forward, and could Andretti even compete for the title? This is another big step for Andretti, because each time they present a proposal, it faces challenges and skepticism, with critics dismissing their efforts as non-serious. Earlier in the year, there were doubts about the significance of the GM Cadillac collaboration, with some labeling it as a mere badging exercise. However, the recent commitment from General Motors to develop their own F1 engine in partnership with Andretti signifies a substantial stride forward for Andretti's proposed entry. In the past, criticisms often revolved around Andretti lacking a manufacturer, a gap that is now filled with the involvement of an automotive giant. Andretti has consistently addressed concerns and requirements thrown at them, with each obstacle met with a solution. Despite the FIA having approved Andretti, F1 itself is yet to provide its endorsement. From F1's perspective, securing General Motors to develop an F1 engine is a monumental achievement. The automotive giant's decision aligns with F1's emphasis on the new simplified engine rules for 2026. With Ford, Honda, Audi, Mercedes, and Renault already committed to the F1 landscape, the addition of GM, a massive American manufacturer, holds particular significance, especially considering F1's focus on the American market. The combination of Andretti and General Motors, presented as Andretti Cadillac, fulfills numerous criteria set by F1. The inclusion of a major manufacturer significantly strengthens Andretti's bid, making it increasingly challenging for F1 to reject. F1 has expressed a desire to welcome new manufacturers, and Andretti's collaboration with GM appears to align with this vision. The partnership's potential rejection by F1 now seems less likely, given the comprehensive and impressive nature of Andretti's proposal, backed by the involvement of a prominent automotive player like General Motors. "We are thrilled that our new Andretti Cadillac F1 entry will be powered by a GM power unit," said General Motors President Mark Reuss. "With our deep engineering and racing expertise, we're confident we'll develop a successful power unit for the series and position Andretti Cadillac as a true works team." FIA's rules for new power unit manufacturers require an applicant to submit their application 4 years prior to competition. Effectively, they are acknowledging that they cannot produce an engine before 2028. Despite this, Andretti is actively pursuing every possible avenue to expedite their entry into F1. The commitment to a 2028 timeline necessitates an interim solution. Andretti's efforts to align with the FIA's determined timeline showcase their determination. The Andretti Cadillac proposal is being viewed as a highly serious proposition, surpassing even existing teams like H-Model in terms of credibility. Comparatively, Andretti Cadillac seems a more compelling choice when starting a team from scratch. Throughout this process, Andretti has faced questions about the value they bring to F1. However, turning this question back on some existing teams raises similar concerns about their contribution. The Andretti proposal, now associated with a major manufacturer, appears increasingly difficult to dismiss. However, a fundamental obstacle remains. The existing teams, having adopted a franchise model, are resistant to the idea of dividing their revenue among more entities. The resistance is rooted in a reluctance to share the financial pie, and an argument that introducing an 11th team could threaten existing sponsorships and necessitate additional financial injections into infrastructure. Despite the significant strides Andretti has made, the reluctance from existing teams persists, and the argument against an 11th team, driven by concerns about financial implications and potential competition, remains a challenging hurdle. It raises questions about the adaptability of F1 to embrace new entrants, and highlights the tension between preserving the status quo and fostering competition in the peak of motorsport. It's not surprising that the weakest commercial teams, particularly those that have seen less recent investments like like Williams and Haas are the ones arguing against Andretti entering and sharing the revenue. However, this argument appears weak, especially from a fan's perspective, given that F1 is built on open competition and the pursuit of the most competitive motorsport in the world. Objecting to the entry of a potentially strong competitor seems like an avoidance of competition rather than a genuine concern. This announcement surely removes any lingering doubts among existing F1 teams about the seriousness of the Andretti Cadillac proposal to enter F1. Any skepticism this might just have been a GM badging exercise to get Andretti through the door won't stand up at all once a brand new all-American power unit is on the grid in 5 years' time. But this still doesn't change the fact that what's proposed still doesn't quite fit F1's desired model of protecting the existing franchises by any new entities taking over existing entries. What Audi is doing with Sauber, taking over that team while building a new engine to the new 2026 rules, is exactly what FOM wants to see. This isn't quite that. The new engine will of course be very welcome, and even James Vowles is on record saying Williams would very much welcome the addition of General Motors Cadillac to F1, but this still requires Stefano Domenicali to admit an 11th team and divvy up the commercial pie accordingly, against the wishes of his existing 10 teams. This certainly increases the pressure to do so, though in an ideal world, F1 would surely prefer Haas agreed to sell up and become Andretti Cadillac, or Williams managed to steal in and convince GM to back a rebranded Williams Cadillac team over letting Andretti in. But that's not what's on offer. GM is firmly backing the Andretti horse, so F1 is now going to have to weigh the long-term benefits of welcoming a genuine new American power unit manufacturer onto the grid in 2028 against the short-term disgruntlement it would cause by allowing Andretti a seat at F1's table. Claims that teams like Haas and Williams could be existentially threatened by Andretti's arrival might now have to be stress-tested in reality, because GM's firm commitment to F1's new engine regs makes it that bit harder to justify turning Andretti away. While there's still a possibility that F1, possibly influenced by the teams, might find a way to reject Andretti's entry, doing so would likely result in a significant PR disaster. Rejecting a team that looks strong on paper, especially after General Motors committed to producing an engine in 2028, would be a terrible look for the championship. If Andretti were to be rejected, there's speculation about other teams, particularly those in the back half of the grid, circling General Motors and expressing interest in being their partner. James Vowles Williams has already stated that his team would welcome GM to Formula One with open arms. However, the issue lies in the fact that at the moment, Andretti and GM come as a package. F1 loves the idea of General Motors and Cadillac being in the sport, but seems hesitant about Andretti. And look, one of this means the project is guaranteed to succeed if it is allowed in, but that would be the case with any new team. The Andretti project has a major manufacturer on board who is committed to building an engine. It apparently has the financial backing, and it would be a huge boost to F1 in the USA. And if F1 were to reject this project simply on the basis that it is not ready for an 11th team, no matter how well appointed, that would raise some big questions about Liberty Media's strategy and leadership when it comes to delivering on its growth objectives. In the event of Andretti's rejection, there's a possibility that another team could become the works Cadillac team in 2028. However, this is contingent on many factors, and the short-term commercial decision by F1 will play a crucial role in determining the trajectory of the Andretti Cadillac project. The wording in the press release from General Motors suggests a commitment to entering with Andretti, and a rejection of Andretti could lead to General Motors reconsidering their involvement altogether. The option of nabbing the engine without Andretti might be a tempting thought for some teams, but it's considered a significant gamble in the current context. Whether the addition of GM as a powertrain supplier changes anything remains to be seen, and its presence could be of interest to other teams seeking a potential power unit partner in the future. As a GM product, this could be open to badging exercises for a brand like Chevrolet. Regardless, it should be considered as strengthening Andretti's claims to a potential F1 berth. Weaker entries have made it, albeit in different circumstances. So, what do you think about the new turn of events? Will Andretti achieve any success in F1? Should the entry be made official by F1? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.